Hello. So this is our first YouTube video on this channel, and today we'll be talking about trigonometry. The person who invented trigonometry is called Hipparchus, which is this person here, who first construct a table of values for a trigonometric function. This is why he is known as the founder of trigonometry. So Hipparchus is an astronaut who was mainly interested in spherical triangles such as imaginary triangle formed by three stars on the celestial sphere. So an example of his work is the lunar and solar theory, which is here. So starting off from the basic definition of what is cosine, sine, and tangent. So cosine is adjacent divided by hypotenuse. Sine theta is opposite divided by hypotenuse. And tangent theta is opposite divided by adjacent. And remember, all three of this trig function can only be used if the triangle is right angle triangle. So as we can see, there are three graphs here, and the first one is the cosine graph, the second one is sine graph, and the third one is tangent graph. So we should be wondering, why does those graphs look like that? So the most easiest example, I think, is using the sine graph. So at theta 0, which is this point here, sine theta is equal to 0, because as we can see here, there is no sine. The sine doesn't have value in here when the theta is 0. And as the theta increases, the sine theta's value increases just like here. It's going up. And as the theta reaches 90 degrees, sine theta is at its maximum value, which is 1 in this context because we're using a unit circle in here. So as we can see in this sine graph here, we start off with 0, and as the theta increases, the value increases too. But as it reaches the 90 degree here, which is pi divided by 2, because pi divided by 2 is 90 degrees, it is the maximum value as we said here. And after that, the sine theta is decreasing again. The value of sine theta is decreasing again because it's going to go back to the flat line here, which is the same as the theta equals to 0 when the theta is 180 degrees, which is at pi in here. The origin of trigonometry came from a question of how to construct a pyramid from the Egyptians. They wanted to know how long the side of a pyramid was, knowing the length of the bases and height. The mathematicians created a triangle which represented one side of the pyramid. And the triangle has a link with the circle. So, one corner of the triangle is in the middle of a circle. Another two corners are touching the edges of the circle. And their goal is finding the length of the chord which is in red. So noticing this circle is a unit circle, which means we can put this point here as 1, 0, and the radius or the length in here is 1 in here. So using this information and the definition of cosine, sine, and tangent, we're possible to put. So noticing this circle is a unit circle. So this means this point is 0, 0, and this is 1, 0. And using the definitions of cosine, sine, and tangent, which is in the circle, okay, first spot them out. So the bottom one is cosine theta, because we know that the hypotenuse is equals to 1 because this is a unit circle. So cosine theta equals to the adjacent, which is the green line, divided by 1. So this is equals to adjacent, and here is sine theta, because sine theta is equals to opposite divided by the hypotenuse, which is 1. So it's equals to opposite. And using, so we can find the length of the chord with the relationship of the circle and the triangle, and using the formula of Pythagoras, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So in a circle, we know the base is 1 with the radius of 1, which means this length here must be 1 minus cosine theta from here to here. And using the Pythagoras, you are possible to write it as sine theta square plus 1 minus cosine theta square equals to chord square. So sine square theta plus 1 minus cosine theta times 1 minus cosine theta equals to chord squared. So that is cosine square theta plus 1 minus 2 cosine theta plus cosine square theta equals chord square. And noticing sine square theta plus cosine square theta plus 1 minus 2 cosine theta is equals to chord square. And as we can see, cosine square plus sine square in here is equals to 1, because so we should write it down as sine square theta plus cosine square theta is equals to 1, which is here. That relationship is in here. So that's equals to 1 plus 1 minus 2 cosine theta equals chord square. So that's 2 minus 2 cosine theta equals chord square. So using another formula, we can simplify this into chord as the main subject. So 2 sine theta divided by 2 is equals to plus minus 2 times square root of 1 minus cosine theta divided by 2, which is plus minus square root of 4 times square root of 1 minus cosine theta divided by 2, which is plus minus square root 4 divided by 2 times 1 minus cosine theta, which is plus minus square root of 2 bracket 1 minus cosine theta, which is the same in this case of chord equals to square root plus minus square root of 2 bracket 1 minus cosine theta, which is equals to here 2 sine theta divided by 2 sine theta divided by 2, and this is the formula for how to find a chord. In another word, they are measuring the length of a triangle, which is Trigonometry in Greek, and this is where the term trigonometry comes from.